I'm at the Big Ten Fan Fest. I'm with Caden, Ava, and Hudson. They're Ohio State fans. I'm representing Wisconsin. Ready, set, go. Coming up after the break on sports. Oh, he's beating me. They got J.K. Dobbins. Wisconsin has Jonathan Taylor. Hear how JT will have an impact on tomorrow's game coming up on sports.
George, tough to know what you're more excited about, the game or that parade.
Give me option C, New Year's Day, because it starts with the Rose Bowl parade and ends with the granddaddy of them all. Now, of course, the game is what brought me out here to Pasadena, but today I hung out across the street from the Rose Bowl in the float barn. It's where they make all the floats for New Year's Day, and I saw firsthand the significance that the parade plays not only here in Pasadena, but across the country. People from all over traveled here to not just watch it and soak it all in on New Year's Day, but also give their time and volunteer to help make it happen.
Well, this is just a vacation for me. I'm back home, I'm a public insurance adjuster. When I found out about Rhodes Scholar and the opportunity to actually work on a float, that was like icing on the cake.
Anita Taft from Atlanta is just one of thousands of volunteers that came to Pasadena to help make the tradition of the Rose Bowl parade happen. There are countless floats, all with different themes. But as each has its own story, so does its assembly. Like Grace Leonard, who's an art major from nearby Irvine, California. She's spending her 20th birthday cutting flowers for the Oregon float, and with the coworkers by her side being her family.
It's really cool to have them with me and learn about like what I'm interested in and really, learn about the float and just kind of working cohesively as a family. It's just been really awesome.
Every float is covered in something living, from bark and seeds to vegetables and flowers. But as strangers from all over the country give life to the parade, their time repays them with far more than just seeing the finished product on New Year's Day.
It makes you feel special. It makes you feel honored and brings a lot of energy into your life.
The level of excitement is just so invigorating and so uplifting, and to watch everybody come together and work on this together, it's really very exciting.
Now, Earl Campbell, I spoke to him. He's actually a 1987 grad of UCLA. So I made sure to mention to him that Wisconsin's first ever win in the Rose Bowl came in 1993 against his Bruins. Of course, Wisconsin themselves, they're looking to end a 3-game losing streak in the Rose Bowl themselves. Now, as for the floats, they're all a year in the making. These are the last final days to put the finishing touches on them, and their deadline is fast approaching. Wednesday at 8 a.m. here on the West Coast, 10 a.m. back in Madison. All right, guys, so I'm here in Pasadena covering the Rose Bowl game, but why does it look like I'm in a workshop? Well, I'm across the street from the Rose Bowl in decorating places. This is where the finishing touches are being put on these floats that have been in the works for about a year now. To my right is a float celebrating 100 years since women got the right to vote. You notice it's experienced experts and a combo of volunteers. So from as far as Atlanta to as close as Irvine, California. And this float here is the Blue Diamond float. Of course, Blue Diamond makes almond milk, Almond Breeze to be particular, that brand of milk. And you see the nature that goes behind making almond milk happen. And on every float, the surface is covered by something living, from wood to seeds to fruit to vegetables. And it's a tournament of roses, so of course flowers. Right here is chopped up brunia that's covered it. I helped some volunteers earlier in the day get that done as well. Now, everything looks done. They're almost done. It's still crunch time because New Year's Day is the deadline, of course, for the Tournament of Roses parade to get this done. So the clock is ticking. Some celebrations happening behind me. It's a lot of hard work, but it's so much fun, and the community behind this is truly amazing. I'm still hanging out at the Big Ten Fan Fest. It's a great time. I did decent on the 40-yard dash. Let me try a field goal now. Feeling like Zach Hinsey. Wisconsin has been opportunistic all year. Thank you, Bruce. After the break, I'll point out how the defense has to be opportunistic as well. On Wisconsin, we got Penn State here. What's going on?
You play to win the game. Hey, how do the Badgers win the game, right? How did they win it?
Jocko, dance with who brought you here. Now, of course, that'll be on Jonathan Taylor's back. He's averaged over 188 rushing yards per game during their current 4-game winning streak. But on top of that, and you saw it firsthand in Minnesota, the Badgers offense stretched the field. Jack Cohn having one of his best career games. Quintez Cephas, the same for him, and the deep pass was there. What they have to do is include that in the playbook because that will open up the running lanes for Jonathan Taylor. 2 of his 3 worst career games have come against the Buckeyes. He averages just 2.7 yards per rush against this defense. He has to find some running room. That has to be where the Badgers start their success. They have to continue it through the air as well. And Jocko, I'll tell you this. You line up these two teams, 11 on 11. Ohio State beats them in just about every category, maybe even at running back. But a team like Wisconsin, this is their national championship. You always have to fear a team that has nothing to lose, especially seeing them for the second time in 1 year.
I need all of y'all to finish on empty and mark their place in Wisconsin football history. And you do that by being playmakers. Let's do it. Playmakers on three. 1, 2, 3. Playmakers.
Now, while the Wisconsin Badgers suffered another heartbreaking loss here in Pasadena as they searched for their first Rose Bowl win since 2000, Jonathan Taylor yet again climbed up the record books, became the first FBS player to rush for back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons since Troy Davis in 95 and 96. Of course, all season long, he showed us what makes him so special. But when you ask his teammates about it, it's all about JT, the man that he is, the person that he is what stands out to them.
Unbelievable care for his teammates. That's where it starts. And unbelievable example of how you approach every day. You know, as impressive as what he's done on the field, and it is incredibly impressive. Who he is and how he's done it is more impressive to me.
You know, I've told people in interviews all the time, he's probably the humblest person I ever met. You know, if you met him and didn't know his name, you wouldn't know that he was the greatest college running back of all time. He's always been the leader, even when he was a freshman. You know, it was more so from action then, you know, from his work ethic. He was always one of the hardest workers, you know, and you appreciate that. He was always somebody who was never satisfied with anything that he's done, so you definitely appreciate that more. And then, you know, away from football, you know, he's a great friend. You know, it just makes it easier and easier to be a great teammate when you're a great friend.
Now, whatever JT's decision is, whether he will stay for his senior season or go to the NFL draft, that's still undecided. He's been pretty much mum is the word when it comes to all that. But as Chris Orr shared right there, that's what I feel like will be his most lasting impact with this program. Sure, he's left so many highlights in Camp Randall Stadium and across the country, but the standard he's set to be a person in that locker room for the Badgers is what everyone, especially in that program, will remember about him.
And George, a pretty special Rose Bowl for Scott Nelson.
That's right, because he shared that moment with his brother coming off his junior year as a Badger, and that was when Wisconsin suffered their 8th straight losing season. So to be playing in the game his senior year and then have a 21-16 win over UCLA in the Rose Bowl was shocking enough. But for Scott, it was just the beginning to a lifetime of memories.
We were hungry. We were tired of being kicked around. And so guys were ready to go.
The Wisconsin Badgers have defeated the UCLA Bruins by a score of 21-16.
We did something that never been done before. Teams have been out to the Rose Bowl, but we hadn't won. And we got over that hump.
That Rose Bowl victory capped off a 10-1 season and laid the foundation for what Wisconsin football is today.
When you start thinking back about what that all was, and how special it was to us as players, and then to people that have waited a lifetime to see this happen, to have it come true, it was pretty special.
Now, Scott Nelson of Sun Prairie witnessed just 11 wins during his first 3 seasons as a Badger. But ending his career with the Rose Bowl victory was just the beginning.
After the game, you celebrate with your teammates. We're doing some interviews, and I might have about 4 or 5 guys around me finish up the interview, and I see her there. Holy cow, I got to regroup again.
The 3-hour battle against the Bruins was behind him, but Scott quickly had to shift his focus to his girlfriend, Becky.
She just came over, and I had been hurt earlier in the game. She thought it was something along the lines of that, and I said, no, I'm fine. Just gave her a hug, and as I gave her a hug, this good friend of mine walks by and hands me the ring. You're excited, your tears from winning the game, and then to be able to pop the question, drop down on the knee. We got a great picture of her with her mouth wide open, shocked. And thankfully, she said yes.
The Rose Bowl has meant so much to the Nelsons, and now a quarter-century later, Scott and Becky are going back, but this time as parents of walk-on wide receiver Cooper Nelson.
We wouldn't trade it. Both my wife and I wouldn't trade what we have.
It's the next chapter in the family story that stretches from Madison to Pasadena. And as Scott gets to share this experience with his son, the advice he passes down is simple.
I said, take it all in. Everything that you're doing now, watching Jonathan Taylor, one of the greatest running backs to play, soak it in. See how he performs. How does he prepare? Get out to California. Having the California Highway Patrolmen on their motorcycles escorting you everywhere. That just doesn't happen in real life. So look around. When you get onto Camp Randall, look around. There's nothing better than coming out of that tunnel, except maybe out in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl.
Now, Cooper is a walk-on redshirt freshman wide receiver for the Badgers, so he won't be fully suiting up and playing in the Rose Bowl when the Badgers take on Oregon. But you know, when he stepped out on the field for the first time, he knew how special it was, not just to be in Pasadena, but of course to be a part and share something with his parents.
It's kind of surreal for me. I didn't really realize how special a place it is and can be. And then when I got here, a pretty special place for our family. My dad's final game as a Badger, where my parents first started their future together, and I get to play here as my first bowl game, so that's pretty exciting.
I'm here with Wisconsin Badger great. You see it on his hat. Los Angeles Chargers running back Melvin Gordon. Melvin, obviously you call LA home now, but what's it like to, it mimics what you spent so many years in Madison look like, the sea of red?
It feels good. You don't understand how much I talk about the Badgers, how much gear I wear around the facility. And to be able to just see it, other people wearing it, man, it makes me smile. I'm so happy.
When you see how this team is led by Jonathan Taylor, what's it like watching a running back like him, a guy that you know, but just see what he's put together?
It feels good, man. I told him when he came in, you know, playing running back at Wisconsin, there's going to be some point, if not every point, where in the game they're going to look at you to make it happen. It's just what it is. It comes with the position there. You know, you're going to have to carry the team on your back. And he's been doing a good job at that.
And so much of Wisconsin's success comes off the running back. So much of Wisconsin's success is also getting to the Rose Bowl. What's it like to see them back in the game? And I mean, it's so great for you. You live so close to here now.
It's so great, man. It's so great to be able to come out here and to be in a primetime game like this and just to be able to go out there and see the boys. Like I said, I haven't been able to see them all year. Unfortunately, I'm so far away. It's not like I can get on a flight and make it. I'm so far away. So for them to come out here, God is looking out for me. So I'm so happy, man. You know, I wish we were in the playoffs. You know, I'd rather go to the playoffs more than anything and get that national championship. But, you know, if you fall short, falling short at the Rose Bowl, you know, it don't look too bad.
And you see the trajectory of the program now. It seems like the next step is actually could be realistic. The recruits that Paul is getting with his staff, that they're going into the playoffs could be the next step for this program.
Yeah, it could. You know, we're a great program. So, you know, I don't see why big-time recruits wouldn't want to come here. You're going to win. You know, you're going to get coached up well. And academics is like no other. So, you know, it's a win-win-win, so you can't lose.
And one more, you know, you're with the Chargers. You've been with them for so long, but what's it like that no matter how far away you're removed from being in Madison, you still get so much love and support from the fans?
Oh, God, it's so much. Man, it's love, you know. But being from a Wisconsin kid, you know, it's expected. You know, I love Wisconsin, man. I got Bucky on my ear right here, if you see. I'm
looking good.
I'm die-hard. Like that's what I am. Wisconsin is what I am, you know, and no one can take that away from me. I got pride, and I can't lose that for the world.
Bucky on his ear, flash around his neck, Melvin Flash Gordon, former Badger, Los Angeles Charger great. Melvin, I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
now, I remember standing in this very spot after Green Bay's win over Minnesota, and I stated we're all witnessing an identity shift as the Packers are recognized as a defensive team that will earn wins that way. Well, in their third straight win, it was back to that Green Bay offensive attack, especially through the air, and led by who else than Aaron Rodgers. A career game for him as he earned his first ever perfect passer rating. But after the game, the veteran quarterback recognized what was more important about his performance today is that this offense is showing balance, which is vital to success in the NFL.
We did it a lot in the air over the years, and our best teams and our best offenses have balance. And I think we're proving that we can have balance. We can pass protect really well. We can run block well. We got two guys out of the backfield who can run and catch. And we have maybe a few more weapons than people think with the emergence of some of these guys.
You know, we have playmakers everywhere. It's not just, you know, one guy or, you know, if one guy goes down, we can't score points, we can't move the ball. You know, we can move the ball and score points in many different ways. And that just shows that, you know, we're super talented, you know, from top to bottom.
When you have great players, especially, you know, our quarterback, it definitely gives you confidence in that whatever you call, he's gonna make it work. And but it takes all 11 guys doing their job.
And after the game, as Rodgers jogged back to the locker room, he ran into former teammate Charles Woodson and joked with the Packer great, saying, "I still got it, OG. I still got it." We'll all agree that over 400 passing yards and 6 total touchdowns is, yeah, still got it. It wasn't exactly questioned if Rodgers could have a day like today, but much more anticipated of when it would happen, and it makes this 6-1 start for the Packers that much sweeter. Reporting from Lambeau Field, George Balekji, NBC 15 Sports.